4:47 a.m. Kola Bay, Merman. The freezing silence of the Arctic is shattered as sirens scream across the deck of a 300,000-ton floating oil keg. Radar screens are drowning in a digital nightmare of ghost ships and low-flying shadows. The Russian commander is barking orders into a radio that returns only static. Moscow poured its elite S-400s and Merman BN jammers into Novoslia to stare down NATO. Convinced this hub was untouchable, they were wrong. Dead wrong. A wave of Paleonisha turbojet drones is skimming the ice, exactly 15 feet above the water. Ukraine has been waiting for this moment of Russian arrogance. Russia has been overly ambitious in extending its reach too far. Now, they are paying the price for leaving this fatal vulnerability exposed. This is Wave 1, a high-velocity strike aimed directly at a massive Russian oversight. 40 Paleonisha turbojet drones ignite their engines in a synchronized roar. They scream across the black Arctic water at 560 miles per hour. Kyiv is exploiting a critical gamble. The Kremlin has surged its heavyweights toward Greenland for Operation Arctic Sentinel. This includes the nuclear cruiser Podol and the elite Merman BN electronic warfare suites. They left the Umba oil hub, the pulsating heart of their Arctic energy exports, guarded by a skeletal defense. Only a few Panzer S-1 and Tor M2 units remain on watch. Ukraine knows the shield is thin. They are moving to shatter it before the Northern Fleet can turn around. The primary obstacle, however, was the sheer geometry of the strike. To overcome the 1,200-meter distance, Ukraine deployed a covert sea launch platform. Disguised as a commercial vessel in the Barents Sea, they unleashed the Palanitsia's Deep Strike variant. This model integrates a high-output turbojet designed for high-speed penetration of the Russian north. As the drones close in, Ukraine triggers a digital smokescreen. Cyber operators hijack maritime signaling buoys across Kola Bay to flood Russian sensors. Suddenly, Russian Tor M2 radars are force-fed a digital nightmare of 500 ghost targets. Their fire control computers waste critical processing power on hallucinations. While the real killers skim just 50 feet above the ice, the Palanitsias are tactically tuned for the fog. As they tear through the air, their jet noise hits the dense moisture and scatters in every direction. For the Russian acoustic tracking teams, the sound is everywhere and nowhere at once. Manual triangulation becomes a fool's errand. They are fighting shadows in a hall of mirrors. Inside the Umba's command center, the air is thick with the smell of ozone. The Russian commander slams his fist onto the console as his display glitches with flickering icons. "Ignore the ghosts! Switch to optical tracking! Free fire zone!" he bellows. Outside, the Panzer S-1 units respond with a mechanical snarl. Their turret assemblies pivot with surgical speed to lock onto thermal booms. Suddenly, the Arctic night is torn apart by a 5,000 round per minute chainsaw of lead. Twin 30mm autocannons erupt, painting the freezing fog with a lethal grid of tracers. Simultaneously, 57 E-6 missiles ignite in pairs, kicking up massive plumes of snow and ice. They scream toward the horizon at 3 times the speed of sound. Proximity fuses trigger in blinding white flashes, showering the drones with thousands of tungsten fragments. The destruction is unavoidable. Paleonitsia engines are ripped from their mounts, disintegrating into balls of fire that tumble into the water. On Russian monitors, the swarm is being systematically deleted. "Target 12 neutralized. Target 15 destroyed," a technician shouts, with a mix of adrenaline and relief. For every intercepted drone, a wave of cheering ripples through the command center. They have turned 40 advanced airframes into burning scrap metal in under 60 seconds. To the Russians, this is a crushing tactical victory, a total neutralization of a desperate threat. But 400 miles away, Ukraine is watching the telemetry of the falling debris with predatory focus. Every shredded drone was a carrier for the, quote, decoy chain. Moscow just spent millions on rare, high-end missiles to open the door for their own destruction. You might wonder, what could these fragments possibly be used for? This is something unprecedented in modern warfare. Russia had less than 60 seconds to celebrate. On the monitors, the glowing wreckage of the downed drones isn't fading, it is intensifying. This is the decoy chain in its final lethal stage. As the shattered airframes disintegrate, they release thousands of microchaff filaments. These active, high-frequency jammers hang in the dense Arctic fog. The moisture traps these silver-coated fibers, creating a lingering cloud of electromagnetic noise. To the Russian Tor M2 systems, it is as if a billion-watt strobe light is reflecting off every droplet. This is a total seeker overload, a digital cataract forced onto Russia's elite defenses. The Russian commander's smug smile evaporates. "Recalibrate! Filter the noise!" he roars, but the computers are gasping. The Tor M2, designed to pick a fly out of the sky at 5 miles, is now totally blind. It sees only a pulsating sea of white noise where the bay used to be. Suddenly, a new crisis hits. The Panzer S1 units, after their minute of rapid-fire success, are signaling a magazine low alert. Due to international sanctions and relentless attrition, Haiyan 57 E6 missiles are no longer easy to replace. They are rare, expensive, and now they are mostly gone, wasted on high-tech scrap metal. The Panzer is down to its last 10-second burst of cannon fire. Loaders scramble in the freezing wind, realizing they've been baited into an empty magazine. This is a classic tactical backfire. Russia spent millions on kinetic energy to build a wall that prevents them from seeing the actual strike. It is like a homeowner spending a fortune on high-tech security, only to have a $10 smoke bomb make it useless. The Russian fortress is now weighed down by a host of unknown variables. Launching a large number of drones and hoping a few penetrate is usually not enough. But this is the emphatic answer for those who doubt Ukraine's ability to gain the upper hand. Moscow, however, isn't ready to yield. In a move of desperate escalation, the commander activates the full-power Merman BN electronic warfare suite. This is a continental-scale electronic sledgehammer. It fires high-power radio waves into the ionosphere to sever GPS and satellite links for a 3,000-mile radius. "Ukraine is blind!" the commander roars over the hum of cooling fans. He believes any drone relying on a satellite signal has just become drifting scrap metal. But the Kremlin is still fighting a 20th century war. As the GPS signal dies, the real killers emerge from the fog. Enter Wave 2, the Lyuty long-range drones. These 2026 spec predators don't care about the Merman BN, because they aren't looking at the sky for directions. They are looking at the ground. As the satellite link vanishes, the Lyuty's onboard AI takes full control. It switches to a high-precision system called DSMTS, Digital Scene Matching Area Correlator. High-definition infrared cameras scan the unique contours of the Merman coastline. The AI compares this live imagery against a 128GB onboard 3D map with millimetric accuracy. It is the military equivalent of Face ID, but it recognizes the entire geography of the Arctic. They don't need a signal from space when they have a photographic memory of the target. To make matters worse, these drones have dropped to a terrifying 15 feet above the water. They are exploiting ground effect, an aerodynamic trick that creates a cushion of high-pressure air. This increases fuel efficiency and hides the drones in radar shadows beneath the S-400's engagement ceiling. Ukraine didn't just find a blind spot. They delivered a powerful psychological blow. These drones took a massive detour through international airspace near the Baltic and Norway. This false flag tactic has Russian air defense controllers in a state of total paralysis. Signals are appearing from the direction of NATO territory, causing them to hesitate. In a moment of panic, the Bastion P coastal batteries launch their massive Onyx anti-ship missiles. The P-800 Onyx is a 3-ton supersonic predator flying at Mach 2.5. But the digital smokescreen has turned the bay into a hall of mirrors. One 3,000-pound missile, blinded by decoys, mistakes RF-emitting debris for a primary target. It slams into the black water at 2,000 miles per hour. The impact creates a vertical mountain of brine and a shockwave that rattles windows miles away. Contact, we got one, a Russian operator screams as a second Onyx clips a Liuti
Check the
drone.
secondary channel. I'm getting
The
a
drone
high-frequency spike
disintegrates
here.
in a spectacular fireball, raining high-tech components
Reroute
across the
auxiliary power to
ice.
sector
Yet,
4.
the victory
We're
is
losing the core.
short-lived. For every drone the Bastion P swats
Try
down,
the manual override.
3 more are already beneath the engagement envelope. Flying at just 15 feet, the remaining Liuti drones are essentially invisible to the Onyx's seekers. In the final seconds, these predators change their trajectory. Their AI has identified the Achilles heel of the Umba hub.
The Arctic, a new
They aren't
frontier
wasting
where the hunt for
100-pound
data
warheads
is
on the
led
ship's
not by
reinforced
humans,
double
but
hull.
by advanced
Instead,
autonomous
they are hunting the
machines.
nervous system on the top deck. They target the loading arms and high-pressure manifold valves. There is a hidden danger in Arctic logistics: temperature. Crude oil is pumped through these pipes at high heat to prevent freezing in the sub-zero air. The entire system is under staggering internal pressure.
Minor fluctuations
As the lead drone locks on, the Russian crew on deck scrambles for cover. Close the valves! Cut the flow! The foreman screams. As the drones enter their terminal dive, onboard AK-630 Gatling guns scream into life. Frantic sailors empty their AK-12 magazines into the fog, firing at the sound of the approaching jets. It is a scene of pure, unadulterated desperation. Man and machine trying to stop a ghost. 1 or 2 drones are clipped, exploding harmlessly against the thick hull. But it is not enough. The AI-guided lead drone has already computed a path through the tracer fire. Its sensors are locked onto the manifold with predatory precision. The moment of impact triggers a catastrophic hydraulic shock. The sudden disruption in high-velocity flow creates a massive water hammer effect. Steel pipes rupture from the inside out, milliseconds before the warhead even detonates. A 1,000-foot pillar of burning crude erupts into the Arctic sky. The thermal energy instantly incinerates the thick fog for miles. The heat is so intense that oil in surrounding tanks begins to boil. A chain reaction of secondary explosions guts a nearby shuttle tanker. The Umba is no longer a strategic asset. It has been completely disabled. Back at the shoreline, the humiliated Russian commander orders an all-out retaliatory strike. This isn't a calculated move. It is a temper tantrum in the form of supersonic steel. A priority red strike order is relayed to Crimea. Within seconds, 3 Bastion P batteries in the Black Sea launch their remaining Onyx missiles. Moscow wants a, quote, dark exchange, sending these monsters toward Odessa at Mach 2.5. They intend to tear the heart out of Ukraine's maritime infrastructure. But Ukraine didn't just plan the attack.
The infrared clearly shows
They planned for the
sustained high
rage
temperatures
that
around
would
the bridge
follow.
collapse, confirming significant
High over the
structural
Black
failure.
Sea,
How soon
a USRC-135 rivet joint is loitering in international airspace. Its sensor array picks up the heat signatures of the Onyx ignition immediately. The telemetry is fed instantly into Ukraine's air defense network. On the outskirts of Odessa, Patriot PAC-3 and SAMPT batteries are in a passive ambush. They aren't broadcasting any radar energy, making them invisible to Russian anti-radiation seekers. Instead, they feed off the high-fidelity data stream from the American sensors. Coordinates are fed directly into Ukrainian fire control computers via Link 16. The Russian Onyx missiles are in their terminal phase, just 30 feet above the waves. Their onboard computers believe the path is clear, but when the missiles are only 20 miles out, the Ukrainian radars snap on in snapshot mode. In a heartbeat, Patriot canisters tilt and erupt. PAC-3MS interceptors are launched in a blur of white smoke and staggering acceleration. At a combined closing speed of nearly Mach 7, the Patriots strike the Onyx head-on. There is no traditional explosion, only the instantaneous conversion of kinetic energy. The 3-ton Russian missiles are shattered into a cloud of microscopic dust. In the skies over the Black Sea, the Kremlin's revenge is systematically deleted. Not a single Russian warhead touches Ukrainian soil. The Russian High Command is left staring at empty telemetry screens. Their most feared supersonic weapon has been turned into an expensive display of futility. The strategic fallout is total. Russia has just lost 20 to 30% of its Arctic crude export capacity in a single morning. Moscow is now forced into a humiliating retreat. Elite S-400 units are being frantically recalled to the Kola Peninsula. The Northern Fleet now looks like a blinded giant, limping home to guard a burnt-out vault. Today, Ukraine proved that the Arctic is no longer a Russian lake. It is a high-tech hunting ground. But as the black smoke drifts toward the North Pole, there is no celebration. There is only the grim realization that the war for the frozen North has entered its most dangerous chapter. What do you think? Will the Kremlin risk a massive escalation to save face? Or is the Russian bear finally running out of teeth? Let us know in the comments below. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.